the public relations have been trying to give a new definition of PR. From a journalist perspective, how do you see public relations?
Boy, you're throwing something hard from a journalist perspective, I think it's part of communications, and there's a fine line between journalism and public relations, and it's all a part of communications, getting the word out on something, whether it's a breaking news story or if it's an event going on, or the nature is the same. The approach can be different, but really the final product is very similar in that it's communication, and it's an effective way to let people know what's going on, whether it is as a news story or as something that maybe not as much of a news story, but something that people would be interested in. So, although they are two different approaches to a subject, they can both be covering the same subject at the same time.
How I would define public relations. And I think as a working journalist, the way I define public relations is pretty simple. It's folks that are trying to get the public to think differently about a product, a service, a company, a person. So they're presenting me with information that's designed to meet an end of their own, not my end, not the public's end. So, I think it could be a useful relationship between the news and public relations, but you have to be pretty clear about what your goals are. What your goals are and what the public relations firm's goals are, what their clients' goals are, and they're not always the same. So it can be a productive relationship, but it doesn't mean that you're always on the same page or even after the same thing.
So, a definition of a public relations professional in the 21st century. In a lot of ways, it's similar to a journalist's role of connecting people to knowledge, and but obviously from a public relations standpoint, you're being even more mindful about getting out a particular message. But I really think it's also about building community these days, and to be viable online, you need to learn how to assemble a community, and you can do that if you're helping the Facebook page for Neiman Marcus. You can do that if you're working with a client on how to build buzz and launch a new product for them. But it's all about making people care and pay attention and to kind of stand out from the noise, the cacophony of noise that's happening on the web. And so so I think that's really, I do think PR and journalism are still very compatible in the way that they work together, because both of them have an objective, is to reach readers and to build community in doing so. And I guess that's how I see public relations unfolding in the 21st century.